Welcome to this new lecture, which is going to be tied to rendering. Right after we render the image or an animation, we usually do compositing. It's a part of the post-processing. Post-processing is a fancy term of when you already finish a project and when you apply extra effects to it. So now I want to show you the very basics of how Blender's compositor works right here. And I want to show you what kind of effects you can apply. So first of all, next to my Susan Monkey, I want to create a small cube. So I'm going to press on Shift A, press on Mesh, Cube. Move it on the right side, scale this down, and then move it over here. I'm going to go to the material here because we don't really need to be inside the rendered view. Now I'm going to go to the material properties. Let's create a new material and let's wait for it to load. And now that it's loaded, what I want to do is make it glow. So if you want to make your materials glow, you want to mess around with the setting which is called emission. And the material by default is going to have the emission, and it's right over here. So I can go to the material settings, expand the emission, and then I have the emission strength, which is set to 0. Now, if I drag this up, you can see the cube is going to start glowing. Basically, it's going to become a lot brighter. So I want to change this to something like 3 to make this a very bright block. And I want to show you why I'm doing that later on in the post-processing or in the compositing. I want to go back to the camera view by pressing numpad 0. Adjust it so that both objects are in the center more or less. And now I'm going to press on F12 to render the image. Now, this image looks like this, but we can actually apply a lot of cool effects to it. And the way we can do that is by compositing. So press on Escape to turn off this view. And now press on Compositing to go to the Compositing tab. Now, we don't see anything here. We get the windows rearranged, and we're mainly going to be working here. First of all, I don't like the way this looks on the left, so I'm going to press on the Home key to make sure to frame it in the center. Now, in order to see the compositing nodes, what we want to do is click on Use Nodes. So if I press on Use Nodes, I'm going to get 2 nodes and I'm going to get my image in the background as well. So I have render layers. If I scroll in, I have render layers node and I have the composite node. Now, if you're using an older version of Blender, you might not have the viewer node and you might not have these connected. But if that's the case, let me show you how to work your way around it. So I'm going to delete the viewer node. I'm going to delete this line as well. I'm going to connect them together. And if you want to create a viewer node by default, make sure you have the node wrangler enabled from preferences, like we showed you in different episodes. And now press on Control Shift, right click, and now you can create a viewer node like this. And if you want to connect them the way they were connected before, I can press on Shift, right click, and then connect them like this. And now we can start working with the compositing effects. So this is the render layers. This is basically the image we rendered, this one. And this is the composite, which we're going to see in the final result, final render. And this is what we're going to see in the real time right now. First of all, the image is way too zoomed in. So if I want to zoom out this image, I can press on the V key. So press on V and then zoom this out. If I want to zoom in, I can press on Alt V. Now, I think in Blender 4.5, you can actually go to the borders and then shrink it down or up manually. But if you're using older Blender versions, you can't really do that. You only have to use the shortcuts either V, Alt V, or you can also go to View, for example, and then change the zoom from here, change the move here. And if you want to fit the image on the entire window, I can press on Fit, and it's going to fit it like this.